Hey, welcome back to Wait Let Me Invest. I'm Zuko, and today we're diving into the February update of my Vanguard Stocks and Shares ISA portfolio. My total portfolio is currently valued at £26,952 and 94 pence. I've invested around £1,666 this month, and my personal rate of return is around 35%. My largest position is still the S&P 500 with a total cash value of £13,324 and 19 pence. Moving to the overall performance tab. So my portfolio has generated an unrealized return of around £2,600 since I started investing back in late 2021, if I'm not mistaken. As you can see from the chart here, it's been growing steadily. I increased the amount of monthly deposits that I make at around April last year, and that's changed the trajectory of the chart. It's much more steep now compared to this before. So if I were to switch this to a month ago, it's a lot of clicking. So January 9th, 8th. As you can see, it does say that I contributed a little over £1,666, but that's from the leftover dividends that I got in December, if I'm not mistaken. I've gained around £1,222 in the last month, which is really good. As you know, the market has been doing really well, especially the tech stocks. Apple, well, Apple not really, I'd probably say Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and that gives me a rate of return of 5%. So now moving to the calculations tab. Let's go till the beginning. As I mentioned earlier, I've gained around £2,600 from my portfolio. 2,400 of that is from market gains, and another £160 is from dividends. I also have £2, which is from the cash interest that I get from the leftover cash that I keep in my account over time. So if I were to move this back to so if I were to move this to a month ago, so you can see here that the market's gained around £1,228. So again, it goes back to the saying, it's not timing the market, but time in the market. The longer you have your investments, the longer you've invested in the markets, the more benefits you'll see over the longer period. Around £8 was deducted from the account for my account fees this month as well, which brings the total to £26. So switching to the month by month tab. So in February, so that's the 1st of February, so that's the 1st of February to the 8th, and I've so far gained about £561, which brings my total to £2,672 and 85 pence. Last month I gained about £360. I earned around £56 from dividends, and the other 305 I got from the market gains. I think December and November were some of the best months that I've had since I started, around £800 gained. So moving to the investments tab, and you'll see all the products that I've invested over the last few years. I'm currently up around 4% for the FTSE 100. This is my lowest performing ETF that I currently have. I've reduced the number of shares that I buy for this ETF each month, because I do want to reduce exposure to it. Although you could argue that it's selling at a discount, but I don't know, man. The UK is I'm kind of unsure about the UK at the moment. Best performing ETF is still the S&P 500. You can see here a capital return of 45%. I'm glad I decided to put most of my capital into this ETF instead of the others. If I would have changed this to a month ago, as you can see, I think this will show you a better picture of the FTSE 100 and its performance over the last month. S&P 500 is up by 7%. Put in around, I've allocated around £800 for that. Another £280 to the FTSE All-World ETF. £200 to the Life Strategy Fund, and another £260 to the Target Retirement Fund. I did purchase around interesting. Oh, I did purchase £166 worth of shares for this ETF, but it's gone down by 0.73%. Again, not too worried, but I'm glad I reduced the monthly deposits for this. What I've reduced, I added to the S&P 500. I was initially only putting in around 750, and I brought this up to around 800 now. Now let's move on to holdings, and you can see all the funds that all the funds and ETFs that I currently hold, and the allocation for each fund in my portfolio. So Life Strategy Equity Fund, this doesn't pay dividends, doesn't pay out dividends, but it does accumulate them. So it gets reinvested automatically. I hold about 11 units of them. Its current rate is around 14%, which is what I am comfortable with. Similarly, for the Target Retirement Fund, it's rated at around 14%, and I hold about 19 units of that. This pays dividends. All of this pays dividends, which is good, which is what I'm expecting, and I want to see that number go up as well over time. So for the FTSE 100, I owned about 61 units of that, which currently weighs around 7% of my entire portfolio. I mentioned in previous videos that I'm trying to bring this down to about 5% over the course of the next year. That plan is in motion now that I've reduced the amount that I allocate for this ETF every month. So this number will change. You'll see this number change in the next few videos, probably reduced to around 7%. And then depending on how the market's doing, I'll probably reassess and decide whether to increase or decrease the amount of money put into that. So next up, the FTSE All-World ETF. I hold 40 units of that, and it currently weighs around 14%. Again, happy with that. So finally, the S&P 500, which takes up nearly 50% of the portfolio. I hold 178 units of that. Finally, I want to show you the Insights tab, which breaks down my investments by geographical locations, my top 10 investments, and the sector allocations, which remains largely focused on tech stocks, which I'm not too surprised by. The other best performing stocks, I think, the last few years, and they're quite promising as well with the emergence of AI and what each of these companies are gonna use AI for, what sort of products they're gonna release or build. It's quite interesting, quite exciting. So let's wait and see how that goes. This tab also shows the performance of my portfolio over the last 3 months. So I started with around £19,000. I contributed around £5,000, and that returned me around £2,000, which gives me a rate of return of 9%. And now I want to show you my investment tracker, which tracks my entire portfolio. So I've invested a total of £37,000. My current total value is around £65,577. That's a gain of 75%. I've also earned around £939 from dividends and staking rewards across my Vanguard ISA account, my Trading 212, and also my crypto holdings. So let's go down. As you can see here, I've invested around £1,666 for my Vanguard ISA account. I've not put in any money this month yet for my Trading 212, although I did put in around £300 last month. I do gotta say, when I first started investing in individual stocks, I was kind of naive. I didn't do my research. I lost a bit of money. The sense where I sold some shares that I bought when I first started, and they weren't performing really well, and I panicked and I sold them for a loss, which is why this is in the negatives. I do have a couple of stocks now that have been performing really well, but they've not been able to make up for the loss yet. Although I do think that's going to change. I do think that's going to change over the coming months. I'm more meticulous now when I invest. I research each company. I wait for the right time to buy the stock whenever it's at a discount. And I've reduced the number of, shares or companies that I currently hold. I only have about, 6 to 8 companies, and I'm only focusing on that until I find another opportunity that I'm happy with. And finally, my crypto, it's been doing the best. I did lose around £600, but that's little compared to what I've gained. I've only put in around £10,000, so that's basically doubled what I've invested in. Just doing really good. It's at the weighting of each category. My goal is to get my Vanguard ISA to 50% of the entire portfolio, my stocks and shares to around 30%, and my crypto to around 20%. And this is the value which I have little control over, so I'm not too fussed about that. And this is the cost. I've allocated more money into my Vanguard than the other two categories. That's fine by me. I'm trying to max out my ISA allowance. As it's tax-free, I do want to utilize that. So that's usually my first point of investment. So I try to get that filled up before I move on to the other categories. But I do it in parallel because I've planned my monthly deposits meticulously, so I know that I'm going to meet my target of maxing out the ISA, and I know I can put in a bit more money, like a little. I know I could put a few £100 here and there to the other two categories. There's not much to say. I do want to get this up to 7%. I've looked at a couple of stocks that I've invested in, one of them being Realty Income. They give out, I think, around 5%. The dividend payout ratio is around 5%, if I'm not mistaken. And that's paid out monthly. I owned about like 5 shares of that, which doesn't result in a huge amount of dividends per month, but still, it's a good start. Another one is Altria, I think. They give out around 9%, although I'm probably going to sell that company. It's a tobacco company, I think, and I'm not too fond of tobacco. My gut tells me to sell it, although I've been wrong so far, so I'm not sure. It might be a mistake, but let's see. And crypto is around 7% again from staking rewards. I'm happy with that. For now, I do want to see it reach 10%. So let's see. Total gain and loss. So my Vanguard, that's the cash on cash rate of return is around 11%. My trading 2 and 2, that's in the negatives. So let's not worry about that. It's in the negatives. It's yeah, I'm down 16%. And for crypto, I'm up 237%, which is around £25,000. And monthly change since the last month's value to the current month, I'm up 7% on my Vanguard. That's including whatever amount of money that I've put in. So do take this with a pinch of salt. Trading 2 and 2, it's up 3%. And crypto, that's down 1%. Although I've not put in any money on crypto, but it's currently going through like a correction, I think. It's currently going through a correction, and it's projected to go on another bullish run soon, so I'm looking forward to that. So that's all for today. I hope you liked my video. Take care. Peace out.